Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Welcome back to another News I Missed, where I go over news I missed. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading at 2.69 million Argentinian pesos on exchanging the Bitcoin to Argentinian pesos trading pair. This means that Bitcoin is currently trading at $32,700 on these platforms, far above the cryptocurrency's current price of, this says 17,000. Bitcoin actually has been going up depending on when you're watching this video, because the dip that we had was clearly fraudulent and is making its way back up right now. The flagship cryptocurrency's price grew steadily against the Argentinian peso this year, as the country is dealing with an inflation rate of 35%. And because of 19 and all the stuff that's going on with that, Crypto Compare data shows that while the price of Bitcoin is up by 145% against the US dollar, it is up by 430% against the Argentinian peso. And this little chart right there showing the inflation rate of the Argentinian peso. The price, is worth noting, is based on the so-called blue dollar that circulates in Argentina, and not the other dollar rates one may find in the country. The blue dollar is said to be governed by supply and demand within the country. And it says around here, so apparently what took place is that according to Bloomberg, Argentina's Senate approved late Friday a proposed one-time wealth tax looking to boost the government's revenue by targeting millionaires with assets above $2.4 million. Wealth taxes, exclusive wealth taxes, never work. People simply flee the country, whatever the actual case might be. So here we are yet again in a 2017-esque scenario. For those of you who may not have been here, or for those of you who were here but maybe just don't remember, we had a lot of cryptocurrency premiums in 2017. What was basically happening was a smaller fraction of what's happening now. Governments were looking like they were going to collapse. They were on the verge of despair. Disaster, had no money left, and people within a number of other countries began to buy Bitcoin because they saw this was happening. The first time this ever really happened was with Cyprus. I believe that was in 2012, 13, or 14. Can't remember the exact time frame. Bitcoin skyrocketed when I think Cyprus defaulted. I can't remember the exact thing because there's always so many things floating through my head. The point is, Bitcoin tends to trade at a premium in many other countries when not only is our market doing well, but their actual government and economic policies are completely tearing everything apart. So here's the actual chart for the Argentinian inflation rate. It's year on year. It just gets worse and worse. They actually were around zero around the early 2000s, and then there was just a complete spike, and they have even far surpassed this one over here. This isn't, and then when we talk about actual inflation rates, it's not that it's only happening in one country. I think sometimes people either just assume that one country is really in the mud, or that, oh, well, they didn't have a good economic policy. No, it's actually all over the world. When we talk about the actual devaluation of the US dollar and the potential of the US dollar falling by potentially 20% next year, I think the lowest estimate that I've seen was 10% of a fall, which is still a huge, gigantic amount for the world reserves currency. This also has another shattering effect on other world currencies as well, who were already not doing well in the first place. You can even see right here, Iran's inflation rate, this is going like month by month. 19%, 21%, 22%, 26%, 30%, 34%, 41%, 46%. My friend sent me something from Twitter yesterday. Someone was posting about it. The craziest part is that there's always so many things going on. You can only really focus on one real area. It's impossible to see all the news at once. Basically, the Iranian currency has fallen so much that a kilo of aubergines or eggplants, a kilo being, I think, 2.2 normal US pounds, was worth 1 cent. So imagine being able to go to your local supermarket and buying a kilo or 2.2 pounds of anything for 1 cent. Not $1, not 10 cents, 1 cent. And that was even like on the actual like nice inflation rate conversion day. It's actually worth zero if you priced in the actual numbers. And they were showing people protesting there, of course, et cetera, as one would imagine. Imagine you are growing aubergines and they are worth absolutely nothing. You would also be a little upset. So here's actually the US dollar as it's been performing this year. It's really self-explanatory if I just even move the mouse like this. We kind of all see where this is going. I'm not going to spend too much time on this topic because there's a lot of other things that we also have to cover, but I just want you to really understand that this is something that's going to magnify and intensify, especially next year as we keep getting more information from other countries that they're going to have to print more money in order to push into the economy and also to give other people as some type of a stimulus. For those of you not looking at the screen, this is an article from 2017, just to, let you know that this is not the first time that this has happened. It says Bitcoin is trading at a 40% premium in Africa. There were multiple countries who were going through this entire thing. And this started around the time when Bitcoin was between 6, 7, 8, 9,000 US dollars. We had countries who were, because the number that we aimed for in 2017 was 10,000. And people were like, if we hit a $10,000 Bitcoin, wow, that's absolutely crazy. Other countries were already showing a $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 Bitcoin, and that's when things kind of got a little insane. This was also from 2017. It says Bitcoin frenzy in South Korea pushes payment premiums to 23%. That's what gave us they started calling it the kimchi premium, basically because people in South Korea had completely lost their minds and were buying up so much Bitcoin because the governments around the world, even kind of similar to what we see now, like they want to make sure that it's within your own jurisdiction or within your country. They basically made it so that if you were, trading cryptocurrencies, it had to be in a cryptocurrency that was within your border. So they were like, cool, we got it. Of course, the cryptocurrency exchanges didn't have that much crypto on them. So people were buying up en masse over and over and over. And this is where we kind of got this one. This is also from 2017, for those of you not looking at the screen. It says South Korea proposes tighter Bitcoin rules, hinting at an outright ban. This is the end of the year. This is when the madness had got so insane. I think the all-time high within South Korea at that time was, I think, $24,000, $25,000 Bitcoin. And that's when we started getting all the news, the coordinated news. It was definitely coordinated. There was nothing about it that wasn't. These people came together and had a discussion inside of a dark room with a hairless cat that they were all petting, trying to figure out exactly how to get Bitcoin under control. This one even says it right here. Once again, 2017, CME Group Leo's Melamed said will tame Bitcoin. They were all really anxious because not only we were getting indications that the stock market wasn't doing well in 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and what have you. And the fact that this new asset was skyrocketing higher than they all thought that it was going to do, because they spent the entire year basically telling people it's terrible, it's garbage. Remember all the stuff that I think it was 2 videos ago that we were discussing. I said, isn't it crazy that every single company, every single institution, every single everything that kept on talking negatively about Bitcoin in 2017 now loves Bitcoin? Coming full circle in that discussion and conversation that we were having, because they all made sure to say that Bitcoin was horrible, yada, yada, yada. But they were figuring out at the same exact time when they were talking about pushing Bitcoin down and banning Bitcoin and yada, yada, they were all buying Bitcoin as well. Like I said, and I said in other videos as well, don't be fooled. It's a smoke screen mirror type of trick that they're trying to get you to get out of the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin space, so that they can pretty much buy up your Bitcoin at a cheaper value as you sell off. It's all coordinated. It's not even a question in my mind anymore. What happened at the end of 2017 was that I think 15 countries in succession came forward talking about, they mentioned Bitcoin in a sentence, and at the very end of the sentence was the word ban. It happened over and over. And I think by the 5th one in that video from the beginning of 2018, I was like, okay, it's too much now, because I think they were all falling on Wednesdays or something like that. The point is, the premiums are back. They're going to continue to be back as other countries allow cryptocurrency trading and only allow 1 or 2 cryptocurrency exchanges. These exchanges can only have so much Bitcoin. So when all that Bitcoin dries up, these premiums are going to continue to increase. They're going to start finding ways to come to other exchanges around the world, to our exchanges, if you will, and start buying up those Bitcoin as well. Also getting into the conversation and discussion of 900 Bitcoin per day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, yada, 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 yada. Right. The news that we get every single day is spectacular. Like, it's never like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, wow, Bitcoin did what? Oh, man, I can't believe it. It's like the tightening of economic controls, trying to get things together that just aren't working. the devaluations of other currencies, the devaluation of the US dollar, the fact that we are now in that mini segment once again. The ending of this year has basically been like a mimic of the ban situation that we had going on, where now all countries are trying to get like rules and regulations in place, as opposed to saying we're going to ban it. It's now like, hey, you have to follow our complete rules or you can't do anything. The same exact thing that we were talking about a couple days ago with the CEO from Coinbase talking about Steve Mnuchin apparently within the next couple of days going to be releasing some type of regulation within the United States to kind of clamp down on crypto. Not a real clamp down, but it's more like if you're using a cryptocurrency exchange, you have to give them more information than you were previously willing to do. The premiums are going to continue happening, and people aren't ready. No, people are not ready. Did you see the last video? We were talking about how much cryptocurrency that MicroStrategy just repurchased in 3 days. It's a bit insane. Sorry, I have a lot of energy. So that's the devaluation, currency, US dollar falling, something or other news. And let's move on. Next up, British fintech app Revolut has added 4 additional cryptocurrencies to their platform, allowing its customers in the European Economic Area to buy EOS, Omisego, 0x Tezos. The company announced on Thursday. I know that it's called OMG Network, but I will always forever know it as Omisego. So same exact letters, so what have you. Currently, the app supports Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bcash, XRP, and Lumens. According to finance magnates, Revolut added these new tokens in response to higher demand from its customers. It's nice to see that Omisego is being added everywhere. EOS was kind of already everywhere. 0x, don't really care. Tezos as well is also, I think it's a corporation coin, but what have you. I think they're basically all preparing. It could be that there was a huge amount of people behind the scenes who were like, hey, can you please add this coin? But I think we're also in that period right now where every exchange, every platform is trying to figure out which coins would be the best for them to add in the event of a parabolic run-up. They want to be able to make the most amount of money, the things that have the most liquidity, because if they're adding other coins that people simply don't care about, then what's the point? You won't be making any money from it. Not you, but them. Like, you have to have the big coins on the platform. So here's the press release, if you kind of want to say that. It says, introducing 4 new crypto tokens, and here they are right here. Kind of cool. I'm glad that we've gotten past the point where we have to wait like months for a cryptocurrency exchange to list something, or like as a big hype period. Like, just list the coins. This is what was Coinbase's problem. They would announce in like January, we're thinking of adding some coins, and by May it's like, just add the coins. Like, what do you think you're doing? Anyway, that's the adding news, and let's move on. In news that maybe shouldn't be news, but is still news because I think people are bored. Remember a couple days ago we were talking about that Facebook had changed their name from, or rather the crypto's project name, from Libra to Diem, as in Carpe Diem, Diem. A London-based fintech startup by the name of Diem is contemplating legal action against Facebook's Libra over the use of the Diem name. According to the Sifted report, a London-based fintech startup by the name of Diem is contemplating legal action against Facebook's Libra over the use of the Diem name. As reported earlier, Libra Association announced to rebrand itself as Diem this month, but the organization could be met with legal action from the London-based firm over copyright infringement. Facebook-backed Libra rebranded itself last week, saying that Diem denotes a new day for the project. I think they rebranded because people have a negative connotation with Libra. Like, we know that Libra is a cryptocurrency project that governments simply don't care for, so therefore let's rename it, and if they hear Diem, it may just pass by their ear. That's just me personally, speculation. The news basically being, here's the news from Sifted. Facebook faces lawsuit over crypto project's new name. Here's my opinion, here's how I feel about it, and here's what I am, thinking. Usually, we've seen a couple of these happen within the cryptocurrency space, wherein a company, a cryptocurrency something blah, 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 has rebranded themselves, made a new name, made a new something, tried to get into the cryptocurrency space or something like that, whatever. At some point, there was another company somewhere in Mongolia or in Tokyo or in South Africa who's like, hey, we have that same exact name, you can't use it. For me, my opinion, this doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not that the other company in the UK, Diem, might not be wonderful or amazing, But I'm going to assume that 99% of people within crypto have never heard of Diem. There was never going to be any association with Diem and Facebook's Diem. So usually, for me, lawsuits like this kind of come up to Facebook is rich, Facebook has money, therefore we want to see if we can also get some of that money because they just happen to use the name that we had. Once again, that's just how I feel. I don't know if the lawsuit's going to go through, what's going to end up happening, but this keeps happening over and over and over within the cryptocurrency space. What happened? There was something that Ripple did, and some company was like, hey, we also use that name as well, so we need money from you. And it's like, calm down. I'm certain not many people knew the name Diem from some, London-based company? Stop it. It's just nonsense. So, if anything, Facebook may rebrand Diem into like Saturn or like Bookcoin or whatever they're thinking of doing. But this was very popular news. I think a lot of it has to do with like Schadenfreude and stuff like that. Like people being happy that Facebook might potentially end up in a lawsuit over something. And it's like, is really not that deep. Like they can rebrand once again, simply saying like they can name themselves Carpe. Bam, the whole thing is completely gone. And then there's the thing that's happening right now is that they are getting ready to launch Libra, Diem, whatever you want to call it. And this is, I think, rattling a lot of people's chains because people thought that this wouldn't be able to launch. We are now at the point, and there's other news that we're going to get into as well that ties directly into this because Facebook is gearing themselves up to be the world's largest bank. You know what that's a threat to? Every other bank. And this is why I also think we've been seeing them getting into the cryptocurrency space because they realize that they kind of have to move forward. All the nonsense they were talking about before about, crypto's garbage. It's like, well, that's really funny because you're into that garbage right now. Like you are neck deep into that garbage that you hated so much before. Anyway, that's the news because it's nonsensical. Whatever. Not going to even say anymore. The point is, that's the Facebook news. That was very popular during this week. I was like, I'm not going to even touch it until the weekend because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because I'm certain. Do you think that Facebook actively scoured to be like, wait, there's a company with that exact same name? Let's use it. No, that's not. No, doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's move on. Next up, a number of TV shows have mentioned Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies over the years. Big Bang Theory, Simpsons. Now apparently a TV show called Shameless, in an episode called This Is Chicago. Somebody said, "It's my crypto," character Dash said, elaborating. "My Bitcoin, it's down 30, and I was using it to leverage my Tether and my Ethereum." Another character responded, "I have no idea what you said." Dash continued, "Oil futures gutted my portfolio last spring, so if there's another 2-point drop on my crypto, I'll have to cover a margin call." So the news was that another TV show mentioned Bitcoin. This has happened not the first time it's happened, not the first time it's going to happen. I think whenever we get news like this, people get a little like, oh my gosh, they mentioned Bitcoin. How do they know about Bitcoin? Everybody knows about Bitcoin. My grandmother knows about Bitcoin. So our popularity increases. That's, I guess, one silver lining of the news. And without further ado, like, I get it. Like, I understand the significance of it in pop culture and people hearing about it, or like a celebrity talking about like the Arya Stark being like, I own Bitcoin and stuff like that. Like, I get it, but it's like, yeah. And to finish things off maybe that's not even it. Let's just keep going. In a two-pronged attack still, the financial heads of G7 countries met on Monday during the 12th meeting of the G7 finance officials hosted by the U.S. Treasury Steve Mnuchin to talk about cryptocurrencies and their impact on the financial ecosystem. The virtual meeting was attended by the finance ministers and central bankers from these countries who strongly advocated for regulating the nascent cryptocurrency space. However, the growing demand for regulations among G7 nations arises from the fear of private digital currencies taking over national fiat. You know what's a private digital currency? During the virtual meet, this was quite evident from the comments made by the German finance minister Olaf Scholz while talking about Facebook's upcoming stablecoin, which was recently renamed to Diem and expected to launch early next year in the USA. Schultz believed that the entry of private players such as Facebook in the financial world would run havoc on the sovereignty of national fiat, and this is why they would not allow the launch of Diem in Europe and in Germany. I didn't even have to read anymore. We are here. This is what we were talking about in 2019. Facebook is getting ready to launch their coin. There are already a number of countries, even if the G7 doesn't like it, even if Germany doesn't like it, even if Bagubala doesn't like it. We had news in 2019 that Facebook was already in discussions with multiple other countries to actually adopt Libra. And according to the news that we got then, some of them were like, yeah, sure, definitely do it. The issue that governments had, and it wasn't until we got that news that governments were like, oh my gosh, we can't do this, was that if the countries they were talking to were countries who were already not doing so well financially. And the idea is, if a bank comes to you and says, hey, I see things around you are kind of gross, let me help you. I give you money, you accept our currency, we both shake hands, everything is good. The country goes, cool, that's fine. Now take out the word currency and put in Libra or Diem. The countries they were going to, it appeared as if they were saying yes because they were in economic straits. Facebook went to them. Nobody knows what the indoor conversations were, but we assume that it was a, hey, we can help you if you help us. Promote this coin in your country, make it legal, and we will give you money to help you pay off your debt. But do you know what that means? That means that that country is then indebted to Facebook. What happens when you as a company, a social media company, has created your own currency and you have 10 countries, not cities, not banks, not people, 10 countries who are indebted to you? You become a mega bank. Now, what happens if you have, what is it? I think 1.5 or 2 billion people across your platforms? It is Facebook, Instagram, and almost said MySpace. And what's the last one? And Instagram. Yeah, Instagram, MySpace, WhatsApp. WhatsApp is the last one. 1.5 to 2 billion people across these platforms, and you tell them, hey, start using this coin and you'll receive a discount because Facebook already has a little like marketplace. What if that marketplace, once again, they also partnered with Lyft and Uber. Hey, you want to ride with Lyft? You can get 20% off if you use our coin. And it begins to tumble out of control very rapidly. And this is why we keep getting news about this. And the G7 countries, and I'm sure other people who were just trying to be down because they have, they're the point is, they're going to try very hard to stop this from happening. It's going to happen in a number of other countries, the same exact way that China is also trying to release their digital currency. And I assume these conversations behind the scenes have also been like, don't let them do that. We can't let China release something that's going to also take over the economic sovereignty of So, boys and girls, tying into that news of the G7 having troubles or issues with crypto adoption, and this is what the focus is always on Libra. It's never on Bitcoin, which is going to shock the heck out of them. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says break up Facebook. It's complicated, tech experts say. The idea now is governments want Facebook to break apart into all of its different sectors. They no longer want this one big, gigantic face ball. They now want it to be separate entities. Problem is, even just reading right here, it says splitting off Instagram and WhatsApp potentially would involve years of engineering and legal work. This is not going to happen anytime soon. I feel like this was a last-ditch effort from governments to kind of say, hey, what else can we do to really stop this? We break up things a lot, right? So let's do that. That's not how the world works anymore. And I always find it fascinating that the people who actually rule countries across the globe are usually in their 65s or 70s or 75s and sometimes 80s. They don't understand how the internet really works and how all these things are so interconnected. The point to be made being that, they're trying to break up Facebook. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I assume within 3 to 4 years, they'll be able, like Facebook themselves will be able to separate these things, but they're going to start making other companies in between that also latch onto the other thing that was supposed to have been separated to kind of keep the power within themselves. But as it stands right now, G7 nations do not care for Libra or Diem. And it doesn't really matter. What does this one say right here? Yeah. The point is, so I'll read through this one as well, but it's not as, spectacular as the last news that we were really covering. Cryptocurrency trading on the app provided by Germany's second largest stock exchange, the Börse Stuttgart, has hit record volumes. 1 billion euros in cryptocurrencies have been traded on the exchange. Their crypto app called Bison so far this year. Germany's second largest stock exchange, Börse Stuttgart, announced Monday that its cryptocurrency trading app Bison had reached a total trading volume of 1 billion euros, around 1.2 billion US dollars so far this year. I like numbers. I like seeing numbers. And for those of you who remember when Bison first launched and we had the news, this is the thing that really gets me, because we get news and I think people kind of push it to the back and go, give me more. What's next? What else is there? Banks in Germany love Bitcoin. The second largest stock exchange in Germany has a cryptocurrency trading app that I think still goes over people's head, because maybe you're not in Germany, maybe you're not in France, maybe it just doesn't mean a lot to you, so you don't really think about these things. But the stock exchanges and banks are obsessed with Bitcoin. They love it. The $1 billion is fascinating because this was probably done as a test. You create something to see if the market is secure, if you're going to make money from it, and how much money you're going to be making from it. This one stock exchange, a lot of you have probably never even heard of Stuttgart, like as an actual place in Germany. So the Stuttgart Stock Exchange, who created an app that people within Germany, and I assume a couple of other places, traded $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. What does that tell other stock exchanges and other banks? The demand is there. You let this one stock exchange make $1 billion worth of profit. We have to start doing the same. It's a big tumble, and it's going to continue happening. I love when it does take place. I think news like this won't ever really excite the market, but behind the scenes, the money makers, the people who are putting big money into the cryptocurrency space, they realize this. If you tried out, you made an app and you made $1 billion without even really I assume this wasn't heavily promoted. Like, how many times did we hear about this? We heard about the other grayscale and yada, yada, yada thing. So, yeah, I find news like this highly fascinating. I'm assuming by the end of next year, nearly every major institution is going to have an app or some type of a cryptocurrency trading platform on their website. It's just a matter of when all the banks do it, because all the cryptocurrency, all the stock exchanges, all the major stock exchanges are already into Bitcoin in some sort of way, which should also logically be moving up the price of everything. Why would a stock exchange, why would insurance companies, why would hedge funds, why would retirement funds and companies and institutions be getting into something that they expect would fall apart in a year or two? They're expecting long-term growth over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 plus years. And at that point, once again, the discussion is that within the next 5 to 10 years, Bitcoin's going to be worth over $1 million per coin. Question mark. What does Bitcoin's price look like in 20 years then? In 30 years? In 40 years? See what I'm saying? Yeah. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great weekend. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I'm really hyped up. Like, there's just so many good things happening every single day, and the market just has to reflect it. Thank you all once again for watching and listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.